did this come out of?
Wow.
Now that is actually Honey playing backup on that song.
And she wrote a nice thing.
Wow.
Little lady.
So they played the music here in this town for that, and they wrote
They made the
words and all
record.
that here? That's amazing.
So
Edge to Edge has you covered in Harrington, Delaware, often referred to as the Hub of Delaware. So we're here in Harrington today because the Historical Society, they're having an event here today where the Smithsonian Museum is doing a traveling museum of urban development. I see this sign is in honor of the Harrington veterans who've served their country in the United States Armed Forces. So we have Civil War, Spanish American, World War I and II, Korean War, Vietnam War, Gulf War, and Iraq War. Very nice. Very nice. So this museum is the Greater Harrington Historical Society. Let's go on in. Look at these books, the Harrington Journal. So all going back to the 50s. 1950, I see, is the oldest one. Wow. Oh, and there's the Opera House. One night only. There's some posters from the Opera House. And then we have this is a spool cabinet from Walter Jones's store, which was located on southwest corner of Clump Block, where post office is today. And George Clark had one, so wow. Huber Baking Company. Here would have been some medicine. The nurse in me is interested in all of this. Tooth powder. Cleans and polishes teeth. All right, so this side is the Smithsonian side, all right? But we're going to check out what Harrington Museum first has. Okay, so it looks like this display is for the Delaware State Fair. Now, Harrington was founded in 1780 by Benjamin Clark. Okay. And before it was Harrington, it was known as Clark's Corner. Wow.
which
That sounds fancy.
it was.
Oh,
That's what it
wow.
looked like.
Wow.
Then they built a regular theater where M&T Bank is.
Okay.
It burnt down. They rebuilt it, and it remained in operation for quite a few years.
Wow.
I worked there as a
Oh,
teenager.
wow. That's awesome.
Yes, but that's what it looked like when it was the Opera House.
Okay. Wow.
And then it became that, and then that's what burnt, and then it became this.
Oh, okay. Like then that's the style theater we usually see.
Yeah.
How much were things? So you could get cornflakes for 25 cents. Orange juice was 15 cents. Soups were 25 cents. Nice. Nice. So we'll look at a couple more things here from the original Harrington Museum and what they have on display. This is neat. Seeds. But a little bit about what the Smithsonian Museum is doing here. And that is, they're bringing about, it's called Crossroads, and change in America, in rural America. They're doing a ribbon cutting here, I guess any moment. But it's brought to you by the Smithsonian Museums, the Museums on Main Street program, and locally sponsored by Delaware Humanities. Okay? And the reason, I guess, for the rural crossroads, before we get into it, is that in 1900, about 40% of Americans lived in rural areas. And by 2010, less than 18% of the U.S. population lived in rural areas. In just over a century, massive economic and social changes led to massive growth of America's urban areas. Yet less than 10% of the U.S. landmass is considered urban. So I guess it's going to talk about the changing urban areas over time. There's a major railway system here in Harrington. Harrington is in Kent County, so we're in the middle of Delaware. It has the Delaware State Fair and lots of agriculture here. Must be an original sign here. Harrington welcomes you. Drive carefully. Funeral dress, handmade, worn by Ida Price to her son's funeral, 1910. Smith's Funeral Home, so they have some artifacts here. This picture of the undertaker. And here's another funeral dress, donated by McNatt Funeral Home. I wonder if there was any significance in the color difference. Okay, so here we have the funeral hearse. This is pretty amazing. Donated by Donald and Carol McNatt. This would have been horse-drawn. Look at that. Wow. Wow. This was the scene last Friday in Harrington as a horse-drawn carriage carried Pauline Tresnack Satterfield to her final resting place in Hollywood Cemetery. Pauline, the wife of John Satterfield, passed away on Tuesday, May 28th. Services were held at her home, Dorman Street. Huh. Interesting. 1812, that's what a coffin would have looked like. Wright opened his first funeral business in 1887. Lots of pics. What are these? Tiddlywinks. Little Orphan Annie clothespins. Viewmaster. Games. Old sewing machine. Singer. So I want to encourage you to come check out the museum, support some of our local museums and the history that we're preserving. But, I don't want to show everything in great detail because I want people to come out and also see and show some support. This Crossroads exhibit that we'll look at in a minute is only going to be here temporarily as it's a moving exhibit. We have an old hutch and some dishes, a cookbook. Old stove. This is how they warmed a baby's bottle. Kettle with compartment to warm baby's bottle. I bet that was pretty fancy to have that. Old Farmer's Almanac, 1958. And then this large mixing bowl. Okay. That's neat. So this is like the whole kitchen setup area. Harrington soap maker. Look at that dress. Okay. Old signs, old tools. Look at that bicycle. Old bicycle used by Quillen family. Bike is cast, not welded. Sickles. It's an old sign. 1925, Universal Traffic Control from St. Louis. That's in great shape. Antique grinder. Okay, we're going to start this. We're going to go through and see what the Crossroads exhibit's all about. All right, so here is the Crossroads exhibit, which is brought to us temporarily by the Smithsonian. And Crossroads, meaning the Change in Rural America, is a museum on Main Street, exhibits developed by the Smithsonian Institution Traveling Exhibit Service and brought to us today by Delaware Humanities. And of course, we are in the town of Harrington, Delaware at their museum, which is hosting it for a short time. So I would encourage you to come out and take a look. And this museum is all put together by the Greater Harrington Historical Society. So these exhibits here are going to talk about rural life. Coal miner's daughter quote. And the development of it. So there's all kinds of information talking about agriculture, the land. So all these things, there's some quotes. My sense of who I am is once more affirmed. Living close to the land does that for me, for sure. And of course, right here in the town of Harrington is a big railroad community. It has been for a long time. All right, this is about farming. Protecting public lands, and of course we know there's some debating land use, and there's been some controversy over Bureau of Land Management. There's Smokey the Bear. It says several agencies are responsible for administering and protecting public lands and natural resources. We've got some barbed wire up there. We talk about the attractions of country life. Here is a Beverly Hillbillies lunchbox and the Fisher Price Family Farm. Cool. We got Main Street. There is an FFA jacket from Kansas.
Welch's store was, if you go out Clark Street, as soon as you cross the railroad tracks in town, the railroad now has a junk lot there and fence. That's where Welch's store was.
What'd they sell?
Where, Welch's cut little grocery store.
Oh, okay.
Little mom and pop grocery store. Graham service station was next to Jared's newsstand, right where Wispis parking lot is. Arthur Buckale, know him very well.
He's my customer. He needs window parts all the time.
Look at this. This was the world champion stunt ace and his Sky Devils at the Harrington Airport. Mass parachute jump, U.S. combat team in action, world's greatest thrill show.
Good idea. Anything about it at all.
So, that is the honeycombs. They still exist. There's a
Oh,
band
wow.
here in Delaware.
Wow. So
They
who-
still
whose
exist.
band is it?
Yeah. This gentleman, his name is Honey Voschel.
I was wondering, is that Honey
Okay,
Voschel?
there's
That's
Honey Voschel.
exactly who it
Okay,
is.
we know who that is.
Of course, he still has his place up in
Felton.
Canterbury.
Yeah,
North
okay,
Felton.
yeah.
He actually went to school with my wife's husband. I'm my wife's father. But they are on Blue Hen Records. This was a record production company here out of Harrington.
I just can't
Didn't know
believe
that.
I didn't know any of that.
Yep. Out of the 50s. Matter of fact, here's some of the sheet music here. The local store owner, he was a local store owner, but also wrote poetry and sheet music. He created the company.
Wrote poetry and sheet music.
Yep, that piece of sheet music right there.
So, I mean, this is not just off the wall stuff. This is something from a person that lived here. They wrote it.
Yes, yeah. His name's right there, Samuel Short. The butcher block out there, and there's a picture
I've
of him out
seen
there.
that butcher block. That's from out of the
Out of his store.
at the front of the store, and they're in the back of their cutting rack.
Making music.
Do you have a favorite song about him?
Wow.
Let me see if it's
Okay.
I don't want to tell you.
because of everything going on. So I have to turn it back up.
And they said to me, have
Where
you
did this
ever
come out of?
gotten-"
Wow.
Now that is actually Honey playing backup on that song.
And she wrote a nice thing.
Wow.
Little lady.
So they played the music here in this town for that, and they wrote
They made the
words and all
record.
that here. That's amazing.
So
Across the street from the, so Stones
Bring it up. We have over half of the Harrington
Slowly, you know, it was enjoyable.
Lime, orange, green, cherry, vanilla, Coca-Cola, root beer.
So you could do a cherry Coke.
it again.
You could do a cherry Coke or
Vanilla,
So the vanilla Coke that would be pretty nostalgic for me because that's what the lady would make me when I was a little kid.
yeah.
no guarantees it tastes the same.
Look at the
Guarantee you, I can't remember a whole thing.
look at the Alka-Seltzer dispenser.
Oh wow!
You see that?
Yeah. They must have used that much of it, huh?
I guess.
Well, they sold it for
In the mirror.
You see your puppy,
I was too
remember?
little.
I
to
won't
see
forget.
that.
I told you I won't forget. We're gonna look outside and then I'll come back in and get you before we go.
Okay.
Okay.
You know what? You said two.
She'll definitely love the attention.
something I want you to take with you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lila. Thank you. That's a nice bag.
Okay, so we got a vanilla Coke and
I'll try root beer. Yep.
okay.
that's fine. 10's better than nothing. We gotta get some more done.
I'll do a root beer as well. I bet that would be really nice. I'm gonna try something different. I'll do a root beer.
Okay.
Yeah.
You laugh. Hang on, make your time.
That's all right.
It might be ready again.
I think I can
You might
handle
wanna try
it.
to give it a little shot. It might
Let me
be
see.
ready.
Let me taste it. Here. So we are headed into the second part of the museum, which we'll see.
My neighbor, so we were just talking.
This is on the National Register of Historic Places by the United States Department of
Oh,
Interior.
he doesn't have it locked.
Did you see them people park right on the graves now?
Let's see that.
Okay, I have to show you something.
Okay.
I don't know if you know a lot of Bible stories, but you know Jesus fed the thousands with
Oh yeah,
fish and loaves of bread.
Good
that's a
Lord.
nice handle.
So where is this from? How did that come
This
about?
was an old Episcopal church.
And they care enough to keep everything, so everybody can know it everywhere.
Yep.
I love that. Look at that. Wow.
I'm gonna take a look.
Now, the one thing I love, and you hit it,
Oh wow.
you only get that this time of day, is the sun is
Aw,
hitting this stained
wow.
glass window. And I love it.
That's
I
beautiful.
just love coming in here and seeing that. That desk belonged to Representative Bobby Quillen
Okay.
at Lake Hall. When he passed away, they gave us that. Yes, that was the police smoke shot camera back in the day.
Wow.
All this is naturally
Police.
from Harrington Police.
And this was fingerprinting?
I
It says
think
something about fingerprint,
It
yeah.
may be, it's
Yeah.
all there.
They had a jail here in town?
Yes, they did. Their picture is Dr. Hewitt Smith's wife driving a fire truck.
Nice.
They lived,
That didn't have any Paris here either.
no, it didn't. Dr. Hewitt Smith and his wife lived on this street, just back up by the police station now, was their house. It was a big white house there at
On
the
this
time,
side or the other side?
on the same side as the police
Okay.
station. when World War II broke out and most of the men from town
Right.
left, they put the fire alarm in her house,
Oh, wow.
and she would drive a truck. And what men were available, a lot of them were out on the fields and stuff. Time they got in town, she'd have a truck to where the fire was, but she drove the truck.
Wow, that's an awesome story.
That truck is now in the hands of a family in Virginia. They bring it up usually every year for our Christmas parade.
Really? Really?
Wow.
I can't wait to see it.
All right.
And that wasn't one of them.
Wow. Well, you're a Miss Delaware today, I promise you that.
Yes, we've had 3 Miss Delawares. And this lady just recently passed away at 104 years old.
Wow.
Is that over Herbert's Beach? It looks like.
That was Atlantic City.
Oh, Atlanta.
That's some float.
That's the float. It used to be this, State Fair, the Kent and Sussex Fair back in those days, helped with the beauty contest, and they built that float for her to ride on in Atlantic City. I want to show you this.
Oh, thank you. I was looking at it and it said do not touch, but I was like, oh my gosh, what is it? I saw it was the Bible.
You've heard of family Bibles.
Oh, yeah.
Doug found this on eBay.
Wow.
The Samuel Harrington Family Bible was on eBay.
Get out of here.
So, he had a phone call. The family saw it. They bought it. They shipped it to us. It was in deplorable condition. Over $1,000 to get this, so we could show it.
Wow. So what year was this? 1806?
1806.
Wow.
And now and then,
It's in great shape.
it is in great shape. Like I said, it cost $1,000 to put it back in shape. I don't think I've ever seen a Bible that has the
That's a nice
maps
map. Yeah.
to depict what they're talking about in the scripture there.
It gives you a visual of when you're reading.
Right. Let's see, where am I? I haven't got to the New Testament yet. Okay, here we go. That is their own personal handwriting of their family
Samuel
history.
Harrington, yep. Died on Tuesday, September 10th, 1878. I can smell it.
Isn't that neat? And
Okay,
a
there's
lot
their family
more.
record.
Mhm.
We have an old family Bible, and it has, that's where they documented everything.
When my mother-in-law, she said she was 65. Her work record showed she was 65. They told her she had to retire back in those days. And she said to me, how do I get my Social Security? I said, well, we just take your birth certificate and we'll go to call the Social Security office. She says, I don't have a birth certificate.
It was written in the Bible.
They didn't have one.
I said, okay, this is going to be good. She was born in 1903. So I called Social Security office, and they said, well, bring her up. So she and I go up, and I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm doing with this old lady, and no birth certificate. So they asked her if she was christened. She said, yes. They said, do you have the paperwork from the church for your christening? No.
Of course not.
She said, I have my marriage license and my divorce papers. Oh, that doesn't help. So they said to her, do you know if there's a family Bible? She said, yes, there is. Uncle Tommy Minner had it out to the basket mill. So right to the basket mill we go. We get the family Bible and we haul it to Social Security office.
There's the record.
There was the record.
And they took that as.
They took that as her proof of her being 65 years old. So, family Bibles, and I know working in our church, we get phone calls every now and then. Do you have records on so-and-so? And they're legal today.
Wow, I didn't know that.
They can be legal today.
Look at the penmanship back then. It's very straight. How did they write so straight?
I don't know. They were so meticulous back
Yeah.
in those days. Everything was so
And
meticulous.
it's really pretty.
And you'll find of course, I won't come to a page right now, where I guess he actually read this as his personal Bible as well, because now and then you'll see where he put a note up beside of a page. These can be touched. People will sit here, especially Heritage Day. They will sit here and go through this stuff and sit on that sofa. And then I realized, hey, Lake Forest is now 50 years old.
Wow. Yeah.
So I have started a small Lake Forest showcase. Most of these books can be used by somebody. It doesn't matter.
If they wanted to
who.
come research something.
If they wanted to come research.
That's awesome.
That's why if we do get the money to build onto the back of that building,
Yeah.
we are going to make a research room
Awesome.
where this would really be available. As it is now, you'd have to get the book, either sit here and research it, take it over to the other building where you could sit down and do more. But there's a lot of history books here.
Laws of Delaware, the revised code in 1915. Wow. Be interesting to know, too, what the laws were back then.
And this is History of Delaware, several volumes. In fact, we got
Democracy
a
in
couple
Delaware.
duplicate volumes. Realize that our freedom is based on people like him.
What's this dollar? Is that was it in his pocket?
Yes, and there's a note on it.
1944 War Fund. They were trying to raise $4,000, and they met their goal and exceeded it.
Just recently, I was in a plane.
Much decorated nurse returns from Europe. Jeanette Wyatt.
I don't know if they're going to follow through. He sent them pictures of what we have.
All right, we're going to make a donation.
Boom. Thank you very much for your
Oh,
donation.
thank you. Thank you for your
And
time
thank
today.
you for your game.
Get your game.
Enjoy. You'll
Hey, this is my birthday present. My birthday's in a few days, and this is my present to myself.
And
Aw.
what's real neat is if you look at the back, you can see it. But, like, there's, so the museum's on there, but
Oh,
then the
wow.
senior center, but then there's,
I remember when the senior center was built.
there is,
All the way on the corner. I remember when that was built.
well,
Reconfigured.
chicks, so all
The
the
parking lot being
all the
paved and everything.
trains are different. Like Carload bought a spot for the trains, but the Harrington Journal's on here. High Grade's on here.
Oh wow, high grade.
Mm-hmm. The high school bought one. The
That was
alumni
my first,
association. So there's history things to it, and then the chance and community chess cards are history things as well.
Oh,
Thank you so
cool.
much.
So
We're
it-
going to
it's
play.
really-
So who put this together?
I was part of the group. My mom was as well. When the city had its 150th anniversary in 2019, we did that as part of the event to celebrate the city.
All right.